God in human form unto other folks. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why it was so deadly. So when we talk about erasure, we're talking about trans folk. We're not talked about in the Bible. That word is not there. That terminology is not there. We haven't even seen the word black really implemented or used in the Bible. So because the representation is not there, it's easier for a group of folks to be erased, to be exiled. But the scripture also says, study to show thyself approved. And if we really dig deeper in that, we have always been there. When we talk about the eunuchs in Ethiopia, we've always been there. When we talk about those gender variant folks, those people that were able to dwell with the gifts of both and genders, we've always been there. When we talk about
Mm-hmm.
Christ, how Christ said, I formed you, I'm spirit, live on a human experience. We know spirit and Jesus, God says, I'm spirit. Spirit has no gender. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing that we're doing, the disservice that we're doing, is that we're trying to put something so powerful in the box. And we need to have more conversations right now in this social political climate, especially with our trans
Mm-hmm.
and gender diverse community members. When we were born, our very existence was so revolutionary that even as a child, they didn't know how to place us.
Mm-hmm.
Now that
Mm-hmm.
society has found out that we exist and our gifts are so amazing. Now they have given us, I guess they say they're granting us the privilege of existence. So they're putting us in the box. And
Mm.
our very existence was to break those boxes
Mm-hmm.
before they knew us, God named us. And we have to be clear of that. Our job is not to fight for a box that's going to label us, that's going to limit our gifts. Our gifts and our job is to expand and break those boxes that they once didn't
Mm-hmm.
have for us because they didn't know our
Yeah.
gifts, because they didn't know how we show up. So now
Mm-hmm.
is our time to repurpose, re-strategize, and take back any limitation that they have given
Mm-hmm.
us to repurpose that. Dismantle their boxes, dismantle
Mm-hmm.
their systems, dismantle any space that says that we're not welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because we, from the beginning, we are the originators, we're engineers, we're scientists,
Yes.
we're authors,
Yes.
we're bishops, we're doctors, we're leaders. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
very important that we do the necessary work and don't wait for them to give it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have these spaces.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And I hope you saw the comments where I think it's Imani, please forgive me if I'm not saying your name correctly, said that you did well on your sermon.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
So I appreciate, like, there's so much that we could unpack in your response, right? And we will have to have more conversations at the conference when we're at in DC. um, I love this conversation because for some reason, you know, many people say the taboo things you don't talk about at the table are what? Politics and religion. And those are two areas right now that are causing great harm on the trans and non-binary community. So I would hope that we discontinue that first of all in our community, so that we can have these conversations. Because if we don't have the conversations, the healing won't happen. I called on, and called in faith leaders around the nation at the Trans Day of Visibility March, because quite frankly we're not hearing from our recognized, if you will, faith leaders in support of everything that's going on right now. And so I thank you for unpacking that, for naming all of those things. And as I come to you, Truth, I want to ask again the same question about where we start with the church and the rainbow community, because there's so much to unpack there, but there's this disconnect, I think. And because there's so many divisions, so many segments within the segment, if you will, of the rainbow community, that the division that is coming from these executive orders, for example, keeping the L, the G, and the B, and not including the T and the Q, if you will. That division is now causing greater division within the community. In fact, I've recently heard where, some in the rainbow community agree with that. And if that's your opinion, I get it. But how can we heal the already divisive nature that we have when some ears actually hear those executive orders and they run with it?
I mean, I honestly believe that's an excellent question that I personally don't have an answer to. But what I can say is, I believe the first place to start is with the church, holding the church accountable. Because for most, and I can only speak for what I know, but for most people of color, Black people in particular, our foundation for spirituality came from religion. I was born in Mississippi and I was raised in Church of God in Christ. I was an ordained elder, and so religion was my key into realizing that I had a spirit. However, the church the church do not teach you fully who you are. They teach you how they can manipulate you, or they use your gifts but don't really teach you how to use your gifts, if that makes sense. And so then the hurt comes because I have given my all and only to be hurt in return. Like, I've given you everything that you said that this was required based on the Bible. And then go back to what Toy say, please, 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 if you're going to study the Bible, if religion is your thing, please study to show thyself approved, a willing worksman, able to rightly divide the word of truth. So I don't do church, I don't do religion, but I can rightly divide the word of truth, because the Bible, in my belief, is a scientific book. And if we take the principles of the Bible, we can free ourselves. Now, that's that over there. But where do we start? I think we have to hold the church accountable and have some real conversations. Will the church be willing to have those real conversations? I don't know. However, I believe that's the first place, because division started in the church. When we start doing our history study, theologians, let's do history study. We go all the way back. People started breaking off into denominations because of what? They couldn't get their point across. I ain't like what you said. I ain't like. So division started in religion. And so now here we are. We have our religion, then we have the Rainbow Coalition, and you go over there. But again, most people, most in the United States, can have a foundation of some sort in religion. And so if you go back to that foundation jacked up this where we at now, and it just keeps on going. So I go back and I still say the same thing. We have to have a real conversation with the leaders of our churches and begin to pull back those layers and have some real heart-to-heart conversations. If healing is truly what the leaders are about, then I believe those conversations will be heard, because we are all here for the same purpose. And according to the Bible, it is unconditional love that we should all be fighting for. And so how we get there is by loving each other enough to have grace with each other and telling our truths.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so powerful. Can you put that comment back up, Danny, please? I want to read what Pride in the Pews is doing. Thank you so much for that, Truth. Wow, like, it's so much to unpack there, and I love this conversation because, and let me acknowledge that this is not the only time this conversation has happened or will happen, and I hope that we can have more conversations like this. One of the things I wanted to mention is that, one of my spiritual leaders, D.E. Polk, he says religion tells you what to think. Spirituality teaches you how to think. How to think. Religion teaches you what to think. Spirituality teaches you how to think. And so I hope that at the National Trans Visibility March, we will be on the latter side in helping you learn how, or further your knowing of how to think. And so from an emotional wellness perspective, from a spiritual wellness perspective, from a physical wellness perspective, we aim to give everyone in attendance tools and space on how to get what you need, not on a specific or what religion says, but whatever your religion is, whatever your denomination is, whatever your walk is. You may be, again, atheist or agnostic. We want to give the space for you to live as your highest, in the words of Oprah Winfrey, your highest, truest, most authentic self. And I wanted to acknowledge Don Abrams' point. They say Pride in the Pews is doing the work of organizing, training, and mobilizing Black faith leaders around LGBTQ plus advocacy. Thank you for all the work that you all are doing, Pride in the Pews, all the amazing work that you're doing. Please drop your website or your information in the comments so we can share it, so people can support the work that you all are doing.
And also,
And
Dr.
yes,
Elijah,
please go ahead, Toy.
it would be hard and impossible for me to sit in this space without saying how important it is when you have a faith-based community that supports you. I'm a part of Vision Church of Atlanta, and my bishop had a vision I saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and I ran from for years. And he has been asking me for years, or when you're ready to accept that calling, you've already been doing the work. Now it's time for community members to see how God shows up. And your very existence shifts the image of God every time you show up, your possibility model. So I want to thank Vision Church of Atlanta, my bishop, for pouring into me and transforming, creating this inclusive ministry that's breathing and birthing giants in this movement called Life and Liberation. And June the 22nd, if you're in Atlanta, it's the 18th through the 22nd, we're having our UPPC Holy Convocation. And on the 22nd, I will be getting my license as an ordained minister. So
yes, congratulations.
And so when we talk about spaces that exclude us, that's why it's important that we support inclusive spaces that affirm and support us. Because every church is not doing that. Every church is not pushing us away. But once you said something earlier, that we're using language and words that's dismantling us and that's dismantling our community. I've never read a gay Bible, never seen one. So how is there a gay church?
Yeah, I laugh facetiously because I've heard that so many times. People have said there's that.
We have to be mindful, understand the power of words. Words have navigation systems. They go where we send them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Lulu.
Before we leave, I want to add, I just want to hold space for the quote, they use your gifts. And I can't remember the rest of it, but I love that. They exploit your gifts. I mean, that is true. And as a tropical woman, a woman from Africa who loves mangoes, I want you to imagine, close your eyes and imagine a mango tree that yields fruit every day. You didn't ask it to yield the fruit. It freely yields the fruit. And you take the gift from the mango tree and you never water it, you never nurture it, you never even acknowledge that it exists. What is going to happen eventually? So this is why we see so much pain and so much hurt in the queer community for those who have given everything they can to church. I'm talking about those who have. There's a reason I'm a runaway Catholic. I used to be over the St. Vincent de Paul, which was the part of the Catholic Church that caters to the poor and the homeless. That was me. That's why I continue that, because I'm not gonna. It's not only from the church. I have that gift in me that was given not by the church, but someone higher, something higher. Saying that also, I want to hold space for the fact that I will keep saying that because I'm a Black immigrant woman, my God is a Black immigrant woman. And because my daughter is a Black trans woman, her God is a Black trans woman. You cannot take that from me, because I was made in God's image and likeness, meaning my God is at the barest minimum Black, at the barest minimum a Black woman, and more likely Black immigrant woman. I need us to separate ourselves from the God of my father, who was raised in the church by missionaries
Mhm.
who told him God was white. And to this day, my dad, who I love so much, tells me that when he thinks of God, he sees a white person. And I said to him, I
Mhm.
said, Daddy, of course you see a white person, because the person who told you about God was white. I want us
That's
to
what you've
hold
been
space
taught.
for that. Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the fact that we cannot keep telling people that there's a white God somewhere when I am as black as it gets. As a matter of fact, I'm not even black, I'm chocolate, or whatever
Mhm.
shade of brown that I choose. So I don't know
Mhm.
where we're going with that, but I just want to
Mhm.
hold space for people that you should be allowed to think with, as a man think it, as a woman think it, as a person think it. Meaning we
Mhm.
all have our own ability to think. No one can think for us, which is why I love the quote about how spirituality teaches you how to think and religion teaches you what to think. That is bordering on being a cult. Someone is
Mhm.
teaching you how to, what to do, what to say, what to
Mhm.
dress, how to dress up. That is
Absolutely.
in a cult. Anyway, I just wanted to
Well,
say that. Going
no,
back to
thank you.
saying your happiness is yours. It depends on you and no one else. And from the
Mhm.
abundance of your own self love, you have to care for yourself and heal yourself.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Lulu. And we are out of time, y'all. I can't believe I can't believe it. This is an amazing dynamic conversation, and we want y'all to come to the National Trans Visibility March, where we will hold more of these conversations. Register at ntvmarch.org for the Policy and Safety Summit. I am going to, as we close, read one more comment, and then I'd like to hear what revolutionary thing will you be bringing to the wellness space, each of you, during for the Guardians of Care Room? And so I want to go back and thank you, Imani, for giving me the correct spelling of your name. If y'all have any last minute questions, burning questions, please post them now because we get ready to wrap up. Church needs cultural humility training, education on trans identities. It can feel disrespectful in those spaces when things like pronouns don't matter. And I want to say that I think this is a
Amen.
beautiful space to point out our topic, which is healing is revolutionary. And I say that because thank you, Deb Dunn, for your comment, because that is a revolutionary thought to say, to act on, to know that churches need more churches, and I'll say churches, synagogues, mosques, all spaces of healing
Yes.
need more than religion to truly heal people. And I'll go back to, I can't remember who re-quoted you, Dr. Lulu, but it was up on the screen where you asked Dr. Lulu to repeat that, what she said, that our gifts are often used but not taught and pushed on. And it is a revolutionary act of an individual who recognizes their gifts, two, recognizes when their gifts have been used to the maximum capacity. And the true revolutionary act is then walking on and leaving that space that has recognized, honored your gifts, utilized your gifts, and oftentimes holds you back for selfish gain and doesn't push you forward. You know you have a good leader when your leader builds your gifts, identifies your gifts, builds your gifts, and then pushes you on to be a butterfly. And so I want to end by asking each of you, what revolutionary act, what revolutionary thing will you bring to the Guardians of Care space, wellness space at the National Trans Visibility March on June 5th in Washington, D.C.? Let's start with Truth.
Okay. I'm going to bring me. There's no
Love
one else
her.
like me. And
Yes.
if you have ever met me, You can attest to that. I'm going to bring my amazing energy. I'm going to bring my amazing unconditional love. And I am ready to hold space for you as you continue your healing journey.
Yes. And listen, anybody who has a conversation with you, Truth, is in for a treat. They gonna get healing in the first 5 seconds. Toy.
I'm going to bring grace, of course, intentionality, and I'm going to bring all of myself. I'm not leaving a part of me behind. I want to make sure that we create spaces that's authentic, and we create those spaces by being that to ourselves first. So I'm bringing my all into the space, so no one else feel as though they have to shrink. All is welcome because I'm bringing all of me.
All is welcome because you bring in all of you. Thank you. And as I come to you, Dr. Lulu, I want to ask those who are viewing to type in the comments, what revolutionary act will you bring, not just to the healing space, but to the march this year? What revolutionary act will you bring? Dr. Lulu.
So thank you so much for the question. Thank you for the space. I'm a speaker. When I was born, I think I was born talking. I used to get in trouble all the time for talking too much when I was growing up. And today I get paid thousands of dollars for using that. And so I'm going to bring talk. And I made this up during my first TED Talk, I came up with this acronym. T is for tuning in to the proper dial. Where are you right now? Tune in to that space, self-awareness. A is ask yourself the most important question. What is this thing trying to teach me? What is this thing trying to tell me? What am I supposed to learn from this? L, leave the door open for answers to come in, because sometimes we ask questions and then we don't leave the door open for the answers to come in. And then K, self-kindness, or better still, knowledge about yourself, knowledge about where you are, and knowing that not everybody's advice may be fitting for you, and that's okay also. As a life coach, I ask people to empower themselves first. So come with talk, TALK, tune in, ask questions, leave the door open, and know thyself. Thank you.
Oh, know thyself. Bloop. Yes.
Come on now.
At the same time. That was so good. Listen, I want to just say thank you to everyone. I will say what I am bringing to the National Trans Visibility March at large this year is the mindset of there's a Buddhist principle that says be open to everything and attached to nothing. Open to everything and attached to nothing. And so I come with zero expectations other than a wonderful experience for everyone who comes in whatever space you are in. I want to thank each of you for gracing this platform. I want to thank Marissa Miller, our founder of the National Trans Visibility March, for helping provide this space. I gotta say thank you to our team, Danny behind the scenes. Danny has made the technology piece look so easy. Thank you to Antoinette. Thank you to all of our strategy directors and everybody. Listen, this is not just me. You may see my face on a lot of stuff, but it is like 20 plus people that is making this whole experience happen. And I would be remiss if I did not say thank you and show gratitude. Thank you, Truth. Thank you, Dr. Lulu. Thank you, Bishop Toy. We will see y'all right back here next Monday at 12 o'clock sharp. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing afternoon.
Toodles.
You ready to march?
We are so excited to be here and to be in year 5. And I want to tell you that I thank you for being here. I love you guys. We will march. When I say trans, you say power. Trans, 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 trans.
I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.